Okay, I'm feeling up to a little bit more of this OS dev here. That was my videos folder, as you saw. So I got my water ready. I think I'm okay to go for a little bit longer. There's an asterisk at the end because that could mean 5 days straight, or it could mean 30 minutes. We'll see. But I did say I wanted to get the delete file shell command done. I want to get other commands done as well, but I wanted to start with that one. So let's go ahead and try and, I am recording, that's good. Let's go ahead and try and implement the delete file. So let's try and do that. So I did set up a del. Okay. I'm going to forget about that. So let's copy that word. Okay. Push. So put this here. Okay. Let's just copy all of that. So instead of command shutdown, I want to make it command delete file. So I didn't want to do that. Wanted to do that. Not go to shutdown. We will go to delete file. We'll make a new thing for that, which will be, I don't know where, down here somewhere. Shut down and end. Let's do it before then. We'll do it, let's do it after clear screen, sure. Which means I'll copy it to begin with. Delete a file from the disk. We'll call it delete file, which I think is what I called it. I call it, yes I did, that's good. We can make it a separate include file. Yeah, we'll call delete file, well, I don't want to call it that now. Call delete file, and then we'll jump get input. So let's call this del, or we'll call this del. I don't know, we'll call it del file, whatever. Can't name the things the same name, unfortunately. It's annoying, but that's all right. So let's make a new file for delete file. Let's do that. It will be back here and include, I guess disk. What do we have in include actually? What all we got in there? Don't I have a tree command now? Include disk, we have load, so it'll be on disk. We have load file and save file. We'll put delete file in there. So let's touch include disk. Delete file.inc, cool, and then we'll open that up, as well as save file, because again, I forget things. So I'm going to take in one parm for this. Put one file name to delete. That's the only one we're going to do. Now delete file. We'll do our things here, push bp, well, this will be included in the kernel, but I'll probably pass the parm, which is the second token, which will be the file name here. I'll probably still pass that like we're doing here and push it, I guess. I could access it from the tokens array, but that wouldn't be very clear if I'm doing this in a separate file. It would be like, where's that coming from? So I'll probably do the same thing here. I'll do push and popping. That's what I wanted to do anyway. So let's continue doing this. Move bpsp. Wherever we want to put the parm, we'll assume the file name. Let's just put it into, I don't know, we'll do bx to start off. For now, we'll just do bx. Get parm off stack. This will be bx, bp plus 4. Turn to caller, I'll put it as a dot. AX, BP minus 2. Assuming things were normal. We'll just move a 0 in there. Success, normal return. Okay. I know I'm typing this out instead of copy and pasting. I'm just getting my typing experience in, right? Pop BX, that was the only one we pushed. All right, move SPBP and pop BP. A good old return to caller. What we're gonna have to do is probably load. I guess we'll assume it's not loaded to memory, but we'll load the file table to memory. We'll search each file table entry, each 16-byte entry for the file name. And if it finds it, we're going to I guess we'll load an area of memory equal to the file size. We'll basically null byte it. We'll load zeros. We'll zero all that out and then save that to the disk. So whatever, space that file or program took up, we're going to make all zeros. And then I'm thinking I'm going to change the file name and that file table entry to like free space or something. So then later, if we look and we see free space and be like, okay, we can write to that. We can put a file there without issue. So that's my, my simple file system implementation for this. That's what I want to do. I'll try and work towards that now. Copy with a Y, there we go. Put a P, there we go. So CX is not going to be 10. That's assuming SI is set up. Let's do that. We'll do SI. Might as well. We should be pushing and popping DI because we're messing with it inside of this, but we're not because we're bad people. So we're going to keep being bad people. Put it there. Okay. Which we don't want that multiple times. So delete file name. File name delete. Whatever. Delete file name. That's a bad name, but whatever. Gotta use bad label names. CX won't necessarily be 10, depending on spaces and things. We could pass the length of the name. Okay, let's say we have 2 parms. Changing everything on the fly. That's okay. So let's do, second parm will be length of file name, sure. So push SI, push BX. Pop them in reverse order. File name to delete will be the first, I guess. And then we'll move BP plus 6. Length of file. We'll assume this is going to be the length, which will be a word value. So BX to CX, and there we go. That'll move file name length bytes from SI, which will be the file name, into DI, which is our variable. So that'll save off the file name. Okay, hopefully it saves it off. I'm not gonna do this, but I'm just gonna copy the stuff. We'll just copy paste this, right? We'll do that. If we found the file, we want to delete it. So we're not really gonna be doing all this, but it will be writing. That's okay. Underlines yanked, you'll love to see it. Okay, search file table for file name. That's all good. We don't need to worry about the starting sector. Don't care about that. Compare file names is what we're going to be doing. So the starting byte will be starting by the file name in the file table. We'll compare that to SI, which will be the file name to delete. And we'll jump to compare. Except instead of saving, we'll put delete. So we're terrible people and we don't have good label names. Otherwise, we'll go to the next entry. That's easy enough. Push DI, sure. So DI will be the start. Save start of file name. CX10. Well, this can be... I forgot. I was like, did we save off the length into a variable? No, we didn't. But that's okay. We could save the file size like we did over here. But I didn't do that so far because we haven't needed to so far. So length of file name is in BX. All right. Delete file size. It'll be a byte. So this will be, we'll do delete file name length. That's what I want this to be. Super long variable name, of course. Of course, you gotta have super long variable names. Otherwise you're not a legit programmer, everyone knows that. Copy file name length to variable. Well, probably want to make that a word, don't we? Since it's a word value. We can move BX into Word. We can do it this way. Delete file name length. That's all we have to do. There we go. Into that byte. We want to move that into CX. We can move BX into here, but I figure if we're going to change it somewhere, I might as well use a variable for this. Makes it a little bit easier to read, I think. So the length of the file name will move into CX, and we'll be comparing against SI and, yeah, and the file table. Okay. And compare file name saving, check file name saving. These all need to be delete. These all need to be delete. Check file name delete. That's what I put there anyway. Compare file names, delete. Check file name delete. I don't need this. I just need the jump equal. Otherwise, it's not going to be equal. It'll move on anyway. That's redundant. I don't need that. If it's equal, we'll go here. Otherwise, it'll do this. Yeah, that's redundant. I don't need that. Well, they call this micro optimization. Is that what this is? Is this more yak shaving? I don't know, but it works. At 16, go back to check. Okay, yeah, that's fine. Restart check saving will be delete. Actually, we don't need a label here. That's the only time this shows up. So there we go. Same thing over here, right? Just got to make sure. Yep. Found file saving. We're going to call this found file delete, as you do. Oh yeah, we're creating a new file by default when we save. So that's why these are to-dos. Because I was like, if we found it, it wouldn't be a new file, but it's because in save file, we're making a new one anyway. Yeah, forgot about that. So we're not making a new file in this one. It definitely exists. Definitely exists. So we don't need to create a new one. We already found it. DI should point to the start. So DI should point to the name, right? If we compared them all, do that. Okay. File name saving. We want to change. Well, we want to change the name that we write to the disk. And we do want to move SI to DI, but SI, we're going to rename our file name here. We have the delete file name. We want to set it to a new one, but we have to set it up in memory assemble time. So we can put it here. I'll call it free space. So our file name, I kind of want it to be like this, free space. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, because that's exactly 10 long. See, genius. Exactly 10 long. I can set the SI to that, right? Yeah, let's do that. So we want to write the 10 bytes free space into our file table entry. So that's what we do. Cool. The file type, bin or text. We don't have file type. So I'll put it here. We don't have file type right now. It could be either. It could just be blanks. It'll just be blanks. 1, 2, 3. It'll be blanks. Of course, instead of needing to do that, we could just, let's move AL space. Let's do that. Then we don't need to do this. All right, this will be file type. Yeah, I'm writing the file table entry and then I'm writing the file data. Yeah, which this will all be zeros. Okay, yep. Writing the file table entry first. So write new, write changed. I guess I'll put changed. Changed file table entry first. Okay. File type will be all blanks. Directory entry will be 0. The last saved sector, starting sector, will be 0. And the file size, well, will be the same. The file size will be the same, I guess. We do want that the same. Probably want to get the file size, don't we? because the file size will be the same. It'll just be nulled out. It'll be all zeros, but we want to make sure the same amount of space is still reserved for future stuff. So yeah, we'll put file size there as well. All right, so where do we get the file size? It's just a byte. I guess when we find the file. Before we pop di. Well, we can pop di. Yeah, that's fine. When we find the file, we can get the size. So this is still ESDI. Yeah. That to AL. So ESDI plus 15. That's the last byte, right? So it should be 15. Yeah, file size is byte 15. So we're starting at the beginning, so plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So yeah. Move that to AL, and we'll move AL into the delete file size label, that variable. There we go. BX shouldn't really matter here, actually. Okay, so that'll write the file table, which will be changed. That'll be good. We'll just write error there if it happens. Otherwise, write file data. So this will be blank. No, not that. It'll be write blank file data. Made a success first. That's interesting. I'll do that down here. The error we'll put down here. This will be a 1 or 2. Well, as long as it's not 0, it's an error. 1. This will be error. Error occurred. Write file data error occurred. So we need to set up a memory location to write. So let's do that. Set up memory location. To write null data to. We need a guaranteed free space in memory, I guess, to write to. Well, yeah, we would. We need a space as big as the file, but filled with zeros. When we run programs, they're loaded to 8,000. When the editor's ran, it's loaded at 8,000. So I don't want to use 8,000. 9,000 is for the stack. Kernel's at 2,000. The file table is at 1,000. Well, since this is going to run in the kernel, and I normally load programs to memory location 8,000, I'm going to load it to 8,000. In the editor, I'm doing other stuff with the current file we're editing loaded to 1,000. But in the kernel, programs are loaded to 8,000. So that's where I'm going to put this. I'm going to move AX800H. Send that to ES, segment address of file to write. This will be 8,000. All right, XOR BX. Put it there. Okay. The file size is how many sectors the file is. How many hexadecimal sectors? Number of sectors to write. Yeah, that's in file size. So file size is in sectors. It's also delete file size. So we want to zero out all the memory before we write it. So how do we do that? Well, we have the file size in sectors. That's how much it's going to take up. So let's XOR DI to set it also. We'll set ESDI to the start of 8,000 as well. Okay, and we'll XOR AX, set it to 0. CX will be our file size, which is in bytes, multiplied by 512, right? Yeah. So do this. CL will move bytes. Delete file size. that into CL, and then if hopefully I can do this. This might be a legal instruction, I don't know. But we're going to try to multiply CX by 512 and put that into CX. So it'll contain file size in bytes, and that's how many times we want to store bytes to this memory location, ESDI 8000. Okay. Write nulls to memory location. Put write, I don't know, zeroed out data, if that makes sense, to disk, or the nulled out data that we just made. Check number, so we do need to get the sector that it starts at though. We do need to get that as well. Let's rename this to delete starting sector. And that'll be a byte. I'll just XOR down here. There we go. Stuff over here we'll want to put there. Okay. And that should write all the sectors at memory location ESBX, which will be 800, which will be 8000. We'll write all those zeros to the disk. So we need to get the starting sector, and then we should be good, I think. So 3YY. Get starting sector. This will be 14. This will be delete starting sector. That's what I called it, right? Yeah. Cool. Cool beans. Okay. I think this will be okay. So we should put in delete file, and then if we recheck the file table, like with the directory command in the kernel, it should show free space and zeroed out stuff. Okay, in the new file table entry. So let's see what we need to change. Because cannot call delete file. Undefined symbol. This is in kernel 404. Cannot call delete file because it's not included. Yes, I did not include it here. So of course you can't call it. Because it don't exist yet, dude. All right. Include disk delete file.inc. So byte file size into AL, undefined symbol file size. That is true. Found it. It's delete. Delete file inc123 undefined symbol return to color saving. That's also true. So we can do 123 capital G, and we go to the line. I'm saying this out loud so that I remember. Return to color saving. Yes, it's just dot return to color. And there we go. So let's see what happens. So currently we have dir, editor calculator. Let's say, hey, I hate calculator. We haven't done anything with it in this series because I hate calculators. So let's just get rid of it. So let's try del space calculator. Enter. So it looks like nothing happened there. And that's, you know, not great, of course. Of course it does nothing because we can't really do that stuff. Yeah, I forgot to push the arguments and everything. Okay. So we need to get, instead of calling delete file, we need to push the stuff first. All right. Push arguments on stack before call, dummy. Why would I have expected that to work? I don't know why. Then we need to clean up the stack. Clean up stack after call. So, and also check return code for errors. All right, so clean up stack, that's easy. We can add 4 to the stack pointer, right? This doesn't matter right now, but we'll compare to 0. We want to push stuff first. We want to push the token that we got. The length we should have in the token length array. So we need to go through the tokens array. Let's just put this here, push file name. All right. Push file name length, okay. Just for placeholders. But we should have these in the tokens and tokens length arrays. These will be filled out, but it'll be the second token, which will be at position 10 in the tokens array. So we'll move, I don't know, for lack of a better register, we'll move SI to tokens, and we'll add 10 to get the first token. Let's set another variable. We don't have enough variables yet. We need more. We need like 50,000, and we're not there yet. So file, I know I named these camel case, but I'm going to do snake case. So you can sue me for that file name. Token file name. Aha. That won't be ever confusing like it is right now. Times 10 db0. Add si10. Move di. Token file name. Movzx. So here I'm going to push, I guess push word. You can push token file name. It'll push the address of the name, which should be all right. CX will be, it won't exactly be 10. It'll be less than 10 for some. So what is the exact length? It would be in tokens length plus 1, which is a word. So yeah, word tokens length plus 1. Well, actually be plus 2. Plus 2. 2 for a word value. The first token would be at position 0 in the length array, since they're all words. The second one would be at position 2. So push CX for this. All right. Call delete file, clean up the stack, check return code for errors. We'll do that later, maybe. I'll probably not do it because I'm lazy. We'll see. And no assemble errors, always good. So we don't like calculator. What happens if we insert in right and don't make any mistakes? CALCULATOR, enter. So it just hangs, which is interesting. I'll do that. I'll make sure it's a word by doing that. I don't think that's the issue though. So maybe it never finds the name. Oh, maybe not. It might not find the name. Nope, it keeps checking. It does not go to the end, and that is why. Compared to SI. Otherwise, add the, no, otherwise, it's compared to 0. Are we at the end of the file table? If so, we need to not check. We need to go to dot return to caller. We need to do this. All right. Actually, no, let's next name. We're not at the end of the file table. We'll go and check the next name. Otherwise, we are at the end of the file table. We have not found the name we're looking for. We're gonna say there is an error, and we'll jump to return to caller, which is way down there. So this dot is not gonna work. So we need to rename this. Awesome. Delete return to caller. So bad. Okay. Just needs to be a jump, not jump equal. There we go. That's fine. Otherwise, we'll go to the next name. Okay. Delete return to caller does not have a dot. No, it doesn't. That's true. There we go. Okay, now let's see if it hangs. Delete, well, let's check. Directory, delete calculator. Oh, put some garbage gobbledygook, because we're not setting ES and DS correctly, maybe? We're not resetting or something? I don't think we are. That would make sense. Let's try to reboot, though. Reboot did not work, so that's good. Stuff enters, all right. I found another way in QEMU is you can do reset, and that'll also reload. Hey, so I just realized I have the kernel open on the right here. I just realized when I'm calling delete file, I'm not using the file name. So I have token file name set up. Token file name is set up, you know, down there, but I'm not even filling it out. I'm just setting DI. So I move the length. I need to do this, move the byte, move from SI, tokens array position, into the file name. That's what I'm pushing. I'm a dork. Anyway, not that that was our issue, but that was an issue that I needed to do. So that should at least be a little bit fixed, maybe. Probably not. Yeah, and then we'll have to change, we'll do this again. Okay. I don't think that was the issue. Oh, now we're over that limit. That's always good. The kernel is now one more, which means save file needs to be changed. This will be 560. This needs to be 5, not 6. That's 5. Starts at 7 now. R7, R9, R8, R9. Alright, other files I will definitely need to change. I think save file I'll have to change as well. Eventually, hopefully I don't have to change these, but I do. I think there was a 6 in here somewhere. I thought it was this file. Yeah, to start writing at. File table will be at, it's after the kernel. I should place it before the kernel, and then I won't have to worry about this as much. Definitely, but that is all right. And yeah, file table is not there, so print file table doesn't work. Directory doesn't work, of course. Yeah, starting sector 7. Still a bunch of garbage. A bunch more garbage. Did not delete calculator, so I got errors. Okay, I'm gonna still look for these errors. I'll get back when I maybe find something. Okay, so I think I found the issue. I'm gonna show you that it does work now, and then I'll explain and go through. But see, on a fresh new thing here, well, I have free space, never mind. Let's delete another one. Let's delete the editor and hope we don't do it. Delete editor. So we get a prompt. I need to put a new line before it comes back. But we deleted it. We get free space. We get no extension. Entry is 0. Start sector is now 0 for these. And size is, you know, however many zeros we got. So it seems to be working at first glance. So that's good. So what did I do? Let's do that again. I changed a few things. Hopefully I remember them all, but I might not. I know in the boot sector, and then in all of the, just run this, source style. So in the boot sect ASM, and then in the load and save files, as well as delete, whenever it was referencing the file table, I moved it to sector 7 instead of 6, because the kernel took up 5 sectors. I had to change that in the other files. You know, I had to load the file table at sector 7 now because it follows the boot sector still on the disk. And then I changed, you know, where we print out the file table inside of a print file table. You know, it's looking for sector 7. Load and save file. File table is looking for sector 7. So that's all I did first off. So some other smaller things, which hopefully I marked all of them down. We'll see. Is that in? I gave them little new labels here so I'd know. So in the kernel, when we move to the next position, this was increment bx, but I changed the token's length array to be words, and words are 2 bytes and not 1 byte. So instead of increment, you can either put increment bx twice, or you can do add bx2, which takes up 1 more byte. If you did increment bx 2 times, it would take up 1 less byte, but I'm not worried about that right now. So add bx2, because each length is actually 1 word. All right, here, this was movzx byte tokens length. I changed it to movzx word tokens length. I don't remember if I changed anything here, so just, you know, pause and check, I guess, if I did or not. But so the other thing was in disk and delete, yep, and delete here. So I don't remember how these were, but I think these were messed up. I don't know, I changed it. When we push the commands, when we call from the kernel, the base pointer is going to be equal to, you know, the current address pushed onto the stack, and then the jump command. And those are both words, so that will be 2 sets of 2 bytes. That'll be 4 bytes. So the first parm that we push will be at BP plus 4. But since the stack grows down, the first parm that we push for an argument to this file or program or whatever, this command, on the stack is going to be at the higher position, BP plus 6. The length of file name we push second. Since the stack grows down, it'll be at 2 bytes lower than the file name. So the length will be at BP plus 4. Get rid of those. Okay, what else? Oh yeah, I didn't have this before. After I was repeat moving into the file name, SI and DI both increment. So SI would not be set to the start anymore of the file name. So I'm just resetting that here. I added these 2 lines to reset SI to the start of the file name. Okay, so before, sorry, I'm jumping around a lot. Under found file delete label, I think this pop was there before, that's fine. Here where we're doing the file type, this was a move. Before this was move SB. That moves SI into DI. We're using AL. We want that to be store to move AL into DI. So at SI, this needs to be in AL file table. Then we had to change the sector. Like I said, the file table sector. The file table is now at sector 7 because the kernel takes up 5 sectors now. Anything else in here? Okay. This was wrong. I had to reverse this order. I think this was SI then BX. This needs to be opposite from the start, which is now push SI, push BX. So since the stack is last in, first out, we need to pop BX and then SI. That's what I'm doing here. I think that was wrong before and I changed that. And I believe that's all that I changed. There's no more new things here. I didn't need to run make again, but I did because I got rid of the labels. So we have calculator. So if we do del space calculator, press enter, it goes back. I can clear the screen. Can run this again, and calculator is now free space. Heyo! If there's an error, I do want to write an error. Maybe I'll put that as a to-do item, but that's it. When we return, we should print a new line before the prompt, though. So let's put that in right quick, just because it looks a little bit better. Before we do get inputs, well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. This is bad, but I don't care right now, so yeah, whatever. 0E, 0A. We are going to change this. But I wanted to print out a new line first, so 0A, 0D. We are going to change that, of course, but I just want to make sure it works first. It didn't move it to the start. That's interesting. But it did move it there. Wonder. Oh, AL. Ha. I'm very tired. AL, not AH, you big dummy. Okay. So delete it. There we go. Oh, so good. That new line. But we can delete things now willy-nilly all like, and it's not Very good for protecting memory, but oh well, we're assuming the user and programmer knows what they're doing. They can just delete stuff. But anyway, delete works for, you know, basic implementation right now. So I'm going to mark that done. Next time I get back to this, I can make a rename file command, a rename command ren. And yeah, I'll get back to it then. Thank you for watching. I do appreciate it.